Hey you guys, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? I've just arrived in central London. I have a few minutes to spare and I wanted to share with you guys some driving juicy nugget insights. I've been listening to Alan Watts as I'm doing my commuting, and it's obviously like flowing me with lots of beautiful like reflections about beingness and just being who you are and the journey of allowing yourself to be that. And that means embracing the full spectrum of your humanness, embracing your darkness, embracing your shadow, embracing your ugliness, your shame, your distortions, your pain, and then using that awareness to choose something different. And it really is in these inner moments, the silence, the space, the reflection, the introspection that we create. And that's part of the illusion, or part of the game of life, is like awakening to that potential and choosing to yoke it. That's what really yoga is to me. It's not like, obviously asana is the form of yoga, so doing practice and having a seated meditation practice is part of the discipline, which helps us to acknowledge what the yoking actually is, and then how it transforms our lives and brings into existence greater peace and harmony. Because the deeper we go within self, the more we realize that our pure potential is bliss, and our pure potential is joy, and our pure potential is this like expanded infinite lightness. And yet here we are on this planet desiring ourselves to kind of ground that energy into our bodies and into our beingness. And so I guess it's like the world that we get born into and that we're kind of programmed by, as it were, is like lots of fear and density, and like, we're afraid and we're separate, and there's this big bad world out there that's out to get us, and it's going to do us harm if we expose the truth of us. And the world program is very much like the reverse of our divinity. So it's like chasing ourselves outside of ourselves, and the thought that we have to do to be, like, in order to be a human, I have to be productive, and I have to be doing stuff, and I have to be busy. And that when we drop into the beingness of something like meditation, relaxation, there's all this fear and shadow shit that comes up, because we're almost programmed not to just be. And when we are just being, we have like, oh no, I'm not like a human, or I'm not going to be able to belong, or I'm not going to be able to achieve, or I'm not going to whatever. And yet that is the opposite. And in essence, our spiritual work is to burn through, to bring the light of our awareness to the fore of those shadows, those darknesses, those fears. Yes, John. I also did a tribe video. I just haven't shared it on the tribe page yet either. So I do practice doing as many shares as, well, certainly, like, you know, between Facebook, YouTube, the tribe, and a bit of Instagram shares as well. Nice to see you here, John. So yeah, so sometimes it's in our stillness and our silence that all of our stuff comes up, and I observe it in my own reality, and certainly in my clients and people I work with, is that it's the silence and the stillness that we often resist. It's the feeling our feelings that we often resist, because there's like this weird egoic part of us that's like frightened to expose that, for fear of like being banished or being excluded. And so we so often have this core wound of separation that we're asking ourselves to uproot that perception. We're asking ourselves to heal that wound so that we can interrelate with ourselves and one another in a more harmonious way, in a more kind of clear channel, recognizing self as other, recognizing that we are one in this exchange. And yet, when we're still unconscious, we have a lot of, people would say, like karmic cycles to work through, because as beings, as these divine soulful beings, there's almost like, just like in the world we've created, there's like checkpoints we're supposed to get to, or like rings of fire that we have to like burn through, or hoops we have to jump through. And it's almost like our own personal game, right? Our own, hey Rochelle, our own personal game. And then we once we start to awaken, it's like we make it really intense, and we make it full of drama, because again, that's part of the imprint of the world, and mainstream media is like drama. And well, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so we kind of act out these dramas, we act out these suffering patterns, and then it's like we get to know the suffering enough so that we finally go, wait a minute, do I have to be suffering? Why am I suffering? What's going on here, people? And then we go within. And that's really the journey of our spirituality, is just us going, I can't do it like that anymore. I can't be that for those people anymore. I can't hide myself anymore. And because of the disparity that our own self-denial creates, that disparity is like an elastic band of stress that just gets worse and worse, or suffering that just gets like worse and worse and worse until it like snaps, or until we finally just let it go. We let it go. We let go of our masks. We break down. We withdraw. We go, I can't do it. It's not like this. This is not going to be how my life is. And then most of us end up coming across The Secret, or we find Abraham Hicks, or we just have spontaneous spiritual awakenings from within ourselves, which make us know that we are one with all. And those realizations, those aha moments, are really what continue to, well, we're always creating. That's the juice. Like, that's the kind of paradox of all this. People like, oh, so I have to be positive all the time. No, we've always been the creators of our realities. We're just living in these really dynamic and intense times, which I do believe on a soul level, all of us chose to be here. From my own inner awareness, I know that my beingness, like every lifetime that I've incarnated on the planet, was for this lifetime. It, like, all the pain and suffering and like murders and persecutions and like all of it was the kind of like training to elevate in this lifetime, because of the timeline of the planet and the ascension of the planet. Oh my God, sidetrack. I had this, now I'm remembering, I had this like really amazing realization, like we're beings, right? And then you recognize we as the infinite being of self. And then I realized, and then all the planets are beings, which means that every single planet that we know of is its own infinite being, which means that as a being is also creating its own infinite reality on infinite timelines, which then blew it all wide open. And I was like, oh my God, we really are the soul creator. Like, you know, not in a selfish egoic way, but like my little bubble of reality is all there is in my own existent self. Like, and then it's the same for you guys, and the same for everybody else. And yet we're choosing to have this co-creative experience with other aspects of ourselves to expand further and to yoke the experience of like darkness and pain into like joyful exhilaration and joyful ecstasy. And not just that, you guys, but there's like this groundedness. It's just this beautiful groundedness of the bliss, of the love, of the light. And then that, again, the momentum can just continue to grow us and evolve us in this way. And I'll just always be honest with you and update you guys. Like, there's a lot in my own life that I'm kind of looking at, and it's fascinating to me, actually, to continue to observe in this conscious way, and to like root things out that I'm just like, wait a minute, what is that even? And realizing like how deep the program goes. And yet when we are the creator, we realize that we're creative people. We are creative beings. And so we sort of like our own little puzzle. We ask ourselves to like take it all apart, put it back together again, and then take it all apart, put it back together again, and keep recreating. And last night, before I was hanging out with somebody last night, and then before going to bed, I was just saying how excited I get. Like, yeah, I go to bed really early, but I go to bed with this, like, and it is a very childlike thing, but like I go to bed and I'm excited to wake up. I'm excited for the next day. And because it's, what's going to happen, you know? And lots of my connection is hit and miss tonight. Messenger will have info. Okay. Lots of love, Rochelle. Sleep well. Yeah, and it's always just about coming back to our own connection, you know? That's all that's all we can ever do. And then work with the disparity in our own vibration when we're not in alignment, and accept people when they fall away from our lives, because it means that on some vibrational level they're not in alignment with the truth of who we are becoming and the truth that we are desiring to become. And knowing that our desires come from like a truly heartfelt place, not just like a mental grip, not just like a mental attachment. And attachment, that's something I'm definitely working with right now, is observing my own patterns of attachment in relationship, and also with substances and everything else. And I know I feel a lot of liberation around food, and I'm still really interested in like plant medicine, you know, and how that can affect the raising of consciousness here, and how we can approach plant medicine with the most like sacred connection possible. Because for me, there's definitely been like those addiction elements that I'm still working with, and yet I don't believe in that paradigm, as it were. I don't ever believe that we're victims of something outside of us. I believe as a conscious creator, we choose certain platforms to interrelate and to work with one another in a kind of holistic way. And obviously anything that we fear as a society or culture, like things that have been criminalized and legalized, like like medicines, like mushrooms and marijuana and stuff like that, if we deny its potential, it can get distorted, which is why I think we see those bad, you know, people having kind of scary, frightening experiences, rather than holding that in a sacred healing space where people can enjoy an experience and that can liberate them further, and without us getting looped into destructive toxicity. And yet, let's accept that that is part of our creation cycle, that I can accept destruction of self as I continue to shine light on certain aspects, and that destruction is always a creation of aspect as well. Yeah, I was having to study herbology. Amazing. Like I definitely have an interest in like exploring that, and exploring plant medicine as healing modalities with a very kind of inner intimate group of people who are also kind of approaching it from a more academic and sacred or philosophical point of view. Funny you should say that as well. Like what's coming in for me is a lot of, I think I might study some astrology in coming months and years, and weirdly like, and I'm not sure, because you know how when you come up against people, sometimes it like transfers onto you. So I'm still working with this edge, but like, I'm like, I wonder if there's more to study or more to like write down or stuff, and not just my own books, but within a different institution or context. But I don't know, guys, I don't know. Just new things coming in, which kind of are hitting me in a way that I'm hearing it and be like, oh, okay, so I can study astrology, or sort of endeavor like a new field of study to just expand awareness and expand my offer, like of what I can offer you guys. So, and because I'm interested in it, obviously, and always have been. So yeah. Yes, Rochelle. I know you. So you guys have an awesome day today. That's it for me. I'll have to go in to teach some yoga. I'll do some yoga with some lovely people, and I just wanted to share and send some love and send some juiciness, because I always get so excited after my long drives, because there's so many mind-blowing insights that I'm just like, oh my god, you guys. And also because of the Alan Watts thing, I just wanted to be like, frequency, sound, and light. Yes, you guys. What was it? What was I say? Oh well, it's gone. Love you guys. Have an awesome day. I hope that was useful or entertaining to you. Oh yeah, and let us not forget, this is all just juice. None of it's right or wrong, and I'm never like thinking, oh, I'm the only right way, and none of this is like fixed ideas, you know? None of it is like, yeah, none of it is like fixed ideas. It's just like movement. Like play with this, play with words, play with concepts, and insights and play with your own thoughts and play with your own consciousness. It's much more fun that way. You guys, that was it. So this is, sometimes I think people get a hard edge. They think I'm like telling them what to do. It's not that at all. I just like share. It's all just sharing from the heart, you guys. Have an awesome day. Love you loads. Bye.